All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're tackling a thought experiment today that honestly sounds like pure sci-fi at first, but trust me, it very quickly spirals into this wild, profound psychological journey. We're going to examine the immediate, shocking reality of waking up one totally ordinary morning to find your physical form has completely vanished. Picture this. You wake up, stretch out of bed, and look down only to see absolutely nothing but empty air where your hands should be. You aren't hurt, you haven't been wiped from existence, you can literally still feel your fingers, still hear your own breath, and feel the cold floor right under your feet. But what now? Instantly, the second you realize what's happened, your life permanently fractures into the one you used to know and the terrifyingly free, unseen one that kicks off right this very second. Now, in those first few minutes, pure, unadulterated shock. You'd be totally panicked, stumbling around your room, touching your face in front of mirrors that are just reflecting the wall behind you. But give it a few hours, and that panic morphs into absolute freedom. You'd get this intoxicating thrill of just bypassing all security, strolling right through locked doors, and shedding all social anxiety. Because hey, no one can judge a face they can't see. But as the days roll by, that temporarily high inevitably shifts into a really dangerous curiosity. Which brings us to section 1, the slippery slope. Because let's face it, that initial rush of absolute freedom doesn't last forever. It inevitably mutates into a much more complicated, invasive way of living. You stop just walking through locked doors, and you start lingering in rooms you definitely shouldn't be in. As a silent and visible observer, the hidden architecture of human life is suddenly laid bare for you. You witness exactly who people truly are the second their daily performances end. Think about it. You might see the super confident boss just collapsing under pressure in private, or a cheerful friend breaking down in tears the moment they're alone. You'd see a politician rehearsing their sincere speeches to an empty room, or a couple putting on these perfect, happy smiles at dinner while totally falling apart behind closed doors. You'd see the fragile, unvarnished reality that everyone desperately hides. So here is the real kicker. Seeing too much changes you. What actually happens when you become entirely unaccountable? Eventually, that temptation to cross strict boundaries, I'm talking sneaking into bank vaults, reading top-secret private documents, or uncovering dark corporate secrets, it just becomes impossible to resist. You're no longer just observing the world anymore. You're operating completely outside the laws of consequence. And that pushes us right into section 2, society's invisible panic. Let's zoom out from the individual for a second and look at the macro level to witness humanity's frantic reaction once the existence of invisibility actually leaks to the rest of the world. Governments would absolutely lose their minds. Privacy laws would be rewritten literally overnight. We'd see a desperate global race to completely overhaul public and private security. We're talking motion tracking systems slapped onto every single street corner, thermal scanning tech running 24/7 at your local grocery store, highly advanced sound detection, and even pressure-based floor alarms baked right into normal everyday homes. Humanity would frantically scramble to box this unexplainable miracle into a strict system of control. As an explainer, it is just fascinating to map out how the world would instantly split trying to rationalize the impossible. On one side, scientists are sweating, frantically debating the mechanics. Is it light bending, molecular rearrangement, some crazy quantum behavior? Meanwhile, public hysteria completely takes the wheel. Conspiracy theories would spread like wildfire, people would start claiming it's literal magic, and of course, social media influencers would start posting totally fake invisibility challenges. It would be a total, unyielding global obsession. And that obsession would quickly harden into a fierce societal divide. Proponents might argue, hey, invisibility is just another human ability. Let's regulate it with ethics and calm reasoning, not mass hysteria. But opponents, they'd see it as a terrifying existential threat. They'd demand strict legal frameworks, detectors everywhere, and just wreak a culture of absolute paranoia. Honestly, this split would likely spawn a massive black market for stealth tech, dividing the world right down the middle into those who want to hide and those who demand protection from the unseen. Amidst all this chaos, people would relentlessly question the physical limits of the power. Can heavy rain reveal an invisible person? Can a dusty room outline their shape? Does your clothing disappear, or is it just your body? Can thermal cameras catch you? Or hey, can dogs still smell you? We'd obsess over these tiny details because, at the end of the day, rules create limits. And limits are exactly what society uses to establish order and control. Now, moving on to section 3, the cost of disappearing. we really need to confront the profound, honestly devastating, psychological toll that permanent isolation would inflict on a single human mind. Because here's the harsh truth of it all. Being unseen is thrilling, only when it's temporary. We are fundamentally social creatures, right? We desperately need recognition, eye contact, physical touch. If you lived invisibly for too long, that endless lack of connection wouldn't feel like a cool superpower anymore. It would rot into pure, unadulterated loneliness. You could scream at the absolute top of your lungs in a crowded room and no one would even flinch. It brings up some deeply uncomfortable personal questions. Would you spy on your own family? Just imagine standing there, completely invisible in your own living room, listening to your family's honest fears and their hidden love for you, while they have zero idea you're even standing there. You'd suddenly realize you've become a ghost. You're completely detached from your own world, unable to share a single genuine moment with the people you care about the most. It all boils down to this really tragic realization. The ultimate price of being able to vanish may be losing the comfort of being known. Our human identity is largely built just by being witnessed by others. We literally know ourselves through the eyes of our friends and family. So without the eyes of others to anchor you, your very identity would start to warp. You'd be left feeling way less human and more like a detached mind just floating aimlessly through space. Which brings us to Section 4, the ultimate moral test. Because ultimately, invisibility isn't just some fun sci-fi fantasy to daydream about on your commute. It is a terrifying mirror of human character. Stripped of all consequences, you're basically staring down two distinct paths. You could become the Guardian, humanity's greatest secret savior, protecting the innocent, exposing deep-rooted corruption, and rescuing people from danger without ever taking a drop of credit. Or you could succumb to your absolute worst impulses. You could become the Shadow, using your absolute power to spy, steal, manipulate, and just feed your selfish desires as this untouchable tyrant of the unseen. So the crucial takeaway here is that we really have to view invisibility as a teacher. It's a condition that completely bypasses societal consequences. It's the ultimate test of whether a person has truly internalized empathy, restraint, and responsibility. Sure, even a kid could use this power innocently to hide from bullies, but without empathy, operating entirely above the rules will completely stunt a person's moral growth. Because, as we know, character is always tested most severely by convenience. Ultimately, this power doesn't decide your morality, it reveals it. True strength isn't the ability to hide forever in the shadows. No, true strength is the ability to stand in the truth and do the right thing, even when the threat of being caught by cameras, security guards, or locks is 100% removed. Because at the end of the day, even when the rest of the world cannot see you, you still see yourself. So I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought from our explainer today. Who are you when no one is watching? If you could vanish for just one single day, would you use that unbelievable power to find the truth and help others? Or would you just disappear into the world to see what it really is when nobody is looking? It's a question that reveals exactly who we are. Thanks so much for going on this journey with me, and keep questioning the invisible parts of our world.